We say good morning to Sam Fortier. He covers the Commanders for the Washington Post. Sam, good morning. How are you?
Doing well, guys. I didn't expect that we'd be talking Commanders this time of year before the season, but it's good to be on with you.
I know usually
nobody did.
If we were talking Commanders at this point, in years past, it would be about, well, who's going to be the next coach, or who are they going to pick in the upcoming draft, and who are some free agents that they might be zeroing in on. But now they're one of the last four teams remaining. It's been a magical ride, and Jaden Daniels has just been better than I think anybody could have expected. And you retweeted Next Gen Stats about how good he was in the game against the Lions, how he performed so well against the blitz and under pressure. And it was basically a flawless performance from Jaden. It's just another one in the latest line of really good outings by him.
Before the season, I went to Baton Rouge. I went to San Bernardino, where Jaden grew up, and basically talked to, like 60 plus people just to get a sense of who this guy is. And a lot of people told me he's unflappable, he's poised, he's this, he's that. And I was like, yeah, okay. Like, you hear that stuff about every quarterback. People said that stuff about Sam Howell. They said it about, whomever in the past. And all of these things that people have talked about have really come to fruition. It's pretty remarkable that, like, when his dad told me that when he was in Pop Warner and he was a kid and he would cry, he was like, I tried to impress upon him, like, you're the quarterback. You can cry when we get in the car, but you cannot cry when we are on the field because your emotions will affect other kids' emotions. And his ability to stay low heartbeat on the sideline when things are going well, when things are going poorly, I think really started way back then.
Wow.
Yeah, you wrote about his dad. We hear a lot about his mom. His dad played corner at Washington and Iowa State. So how much of a role has his dad played in his development then?
Huge. When he was growing up, people from San Bernardino told me really, like, his parents were committed. They had complementary skill sets. She was really good at organizing, fundraising, kind of, team mom sort of stuff. And his dad really was the offensive coordinator. He was the coach, in Pop Warner. There's like this famous story about how they basically didn't lose for 3 years because Javon and his friends were like teaching Jaden and his friends like some pretty advanced like passing concepts for 8-year-olds. They were the Blackhawks in the San Bernardino Pop Warner League, and they were pretty like famous out there. Even in talent-rich Southern California, like they still stood out. And Javon, basically when Jaden was 7, he was like, "Hey, Dad, I want to play corner. I want to play quarterback." And Javon was like, "Hey, man, like you're probably going to be tall and skinny and long like me. There's way more college scholarships available for DBs. Like you should be a DB." And Jaden was like, "I want the ball in my hands." And so Javon was like, "All right, like if you want that, there's a lot that comes with it." And he starts building that poise into him, and he starts doing a lot of those things that we're seeing right now.
When did he start working with the quarterback skills coach, Ryan Porter?
It was about, I want to say, it wasn't that long after that, because when Javon and Ryan Porter are close friends, and basically they were at the YMCA, and Jaden was like, Javon was like, "Oh, Jaden wants to be a quarterback. Ryan played quarterback." And so I want to say he was like 8 or 9, and then, things really started taking off from there.
It's been incredible. And, you're talking about exactly the number one thing beyond the individual talent, like the arm, the legs, the toughness, all of that. The poise is what's been just jumping out. Like, it's been incredible. I'm not sure I've seen anything like it. And what's funny is you kind of did touch on it at the beginning. I remember, I think it was Keim did an interview with Herm Edwards. A lot of people talked to Herm before the draft. I'm sure you did too. And Herm talked about how if he throws an interception, he would like kind of smile, not because he was happy, but because he knew he was good and he was going to come back and get him. Have you seen his demeanor change at all as he's become more famous, frankly? Like he's went from like a college rock star to a pro rock star, and I'm sorry, it's just a different level. It's different being Maurice Claret and being, say, Barry Sanders, right? It's a different thing. Have you seen any change in his demeanor?
I'm not around him 24/7. We're really just around him when the facility's open during the week, but absolutely not. No. And like, PR over there, Charlie Muley is kind of his guy. And like, even during his post-game press conference today, like after, they hit that kick to win the game in Tampa, like he didn't celebrate. And we asked him, hey, like what was going through your head at the moment? And he was like, I looked at Charlie and I was like, oh, we probably got some interviews right now. Like that is as calm as he is. And another example, actually, they missed the first fourth down the other day, right? And the practice squad quarterback, Sam Hartman, who's friends with him, who trained with him in California, he told me that like Jaden came back to the sideline after they missed that fourth down, and he walked over and he walked by him and he just winked at Sam. And Sam was like, I knew right then we were winning the game. It did not matter.
Amazing. Just incredible points. What about the other guys? When you're around them, this seems like, every week we say, pound for pound and player for player, they've got more talent. But man, we seem to have almost perfect team chemistry. Have you seen any change in any of the other guys' demeanor?
No, that was honestly, man, like one of the things that really impressed me when I walked into the locker room right after they beat Detroit. Like they were celebrating, they were happy, but it was not their Super Bowl. They were not over the moon because they did not see themselves as the underdog that everybody outside the building did. And it's so easy, right? If you're a team to say, oh, we believe in ourselves, we have this, we have that. But really, it looked like it. And I think that, like, one of the things that stood out to me is I walked into that locker room, which was white-walled and wooden lockered, and a dozen guys were wearing all black. And I talked to a couple guys, and I was like, hey, is this intentional? Are you trying to send a message? And they were like, no. But when Adam Peters walked into the locker room, Terry McLaurin, who was wearing an all-black suit, looked at him, and he was like, all black for a funeral. They planned, I think, on that message of saying like, hey, we are here to end their season, and it's not a far-fetched thing. We are not the underdogs people think we are.
Joined by Sam Fortier, covers the Commanders for the Washington Post on the Rude Guest Hotline. So B-Rob and Eckler were really good against the Lions. They combined for 21 carries, 124 yards. B-Rob found the end zone twice. Can they continue that against the Eagles and that formidable front that the Eagles are going to throw at them with Jalen Carter and company there?
Well, I hate to steal this thing from a conversation I had with Logan Paulson yesterday. I know he's on next with you guys, little promo. But basically, look, I think that what the Commanders did so well against the Lions was basically football math. Cliff Kingsbury spread the Lions out. He used their aggressiveness against them. The Lions love to play man coverage. So when he did those spread formations, particularly with stacks on the outside, it's like, okay, if you're going to play man coverage, that's 4 defenders that are pulled way away from the formation. And if they're not, then I know it's zone coverage. And basically they used those run-pass options and allowed Jaden to, like, beat them with football math. Like, hey, if you're going to have a light box, we're going to run. If you're going to have a heavy box, we're going to throw. Like that touchdown to Terry, it's like, okay, you're playing a heavier box. Like, we have a numbers advantage on the perimeter. I'm just going to throw the screen out to the bunch, and Terry's going to hit that hole like the running back he used to be in Pop Warner, and he's going to take it to the house. I think that the Eagles are immune to football math. Like, they are excellent at stopping the run from a light box. They are excellent with their defensive front, allowing their secondary to have, like, +1 in coverage. And so, to me, Cliff is going to have to find another wrinkle. Like, he found the wrinkle last week that gave Jaden, the cheat code to say, okay, like, I'm going to get us right in the numbers game. What is that thing against Eagles? Because I don't think it's the same thing.
Sam, on the defensive side, it's all about Barkley for them. I think you know that. Especially with Hurts being banged up with the knee. Who knows, how he's feeling and if he's going to be much better on Sunday. But they just haven't been very explosive passing the ball all year, really. Now, they got great receivers, and they got a good tight end, but it's all about Saquon Barkley hitting a home run. What are they going to do defensively to stop Saquon Barkley or certainly try and slow him down? And then in the secondary, Sanders still has been playing great. He was awesome in the Detroit game. What do you think Lattimore's role is going to be?
Yeah, to me, I wonder if they load the box and they say, hey, like, Saquon is not going to be this, kind of like they did in the second half of that upset in Week 16. Mm-hmm. Because, like you said, like, this passing offense, despite the talent they have on the perimeter, despite, Jalen Hurts' ability to throw the deep ball historically, they have not been able to get that thing going consistently. And that's all year long. Is that on Kellen Moore? Is that on Jalen Hurts? It's kind of hard to say. But to me, like you said, I think they have to stop Saquon first, make Jalen beat you, especially, with him being hobbled. And so I think that Mikey and Marshawn have shown to this point, like, maybe you play a lot of man coverage. Maybe you press, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and say, hey, like, we're loading the box, we're stopping Saquon, and then we're going to take our chances with one-on-ones on the outside, which obviously you couldn't do before you had Marshawn. And I think that this is where his appearance has to show up.
Sam, thanks for the time. We know you're going to be heading to Philly in a few days. Safe travels up there, and hopefully you'll be traveling to New Orleans in a few weeks. That would be fantastic.
That's like been a joke in the beat room for years about, hey, let's book our tickets to the Super Bowl. So that would be truly amazing. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Sam
Thanks,
Fortier
buddy.
covers the Commanders for the Washington Post. Coming up at 8:25, as Sam mentioned, Logan Paulson will join us. He's the co-host of the Take Command podcast with Craig Hoffman.
Real quick, I just want to say, in the postseason, now it's a very small sample size, but it's only been 2 games. Philadelphia is dead last in the postseason in passing yards per game at 93 per game. Think about that.
It's a
paltry
crazy
number.
Washington is second in 2 games, 284 yards per game. Philadelphia has just been non-existent throwing the ball. Obviously, their strength is Barkley.
Well, that's going to change.
But
I mean, they can't continue with that rate.
I'm just saying, I don't think you have to be afraid of their passing offense.